give me your answer to. I'm half crazy. Hello, Cubanwriter here with Darkling Faye.
Hello.
And today we're here to review a movie we just saw tonight. A superhero film that's been a long time coming.
Wonder Woman.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Only they have a better theme song.
Do they?
They do.
Do they really?
I actually really like their theme song, and I have it on my phone, and I listen to it along with my other favorite songs.
Like Hamilton?
Yes, like Hamilton. It's Hamilton and Wonder Woman.
Oh, man.
And Weird Al Yankovic. But anyway, we're not here to review my playlist. We're here to review Wonder Woman. And I can tell you right up front that I thought it was the best DC Universe film to date.
Well, I think first, before we get into that, we should explain a couple of things first. That ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to grow up to be Wonder Woman.
You wanted to grow up to be Wonder Woman?
Yeah. The only thing I used to wear when I was a kid was my Wonder Woman underoos. And I wore it as clothes because, duh, it's an outfit. She got to wear it. I could wear it. I've been obsessed with Wonder Woman since birth, pretty much. It was so bad that people at work actually bought me a Wonder Woman cape for my chair at desk for work. So everyone knows where I sit because I have the cape on my chair. So pretty obsessed with her. And I was really nervous about this movie. Because as we all know, DC has not made a good superhero film. The past has kind of told us that. Things like Suicide Squad and Batman versus Superman and all of the Superman films. So I went into this movie with very low expectations. Pretty sure it was going to be a steaming pile of poop. And it wasn't. Yay!
All right.
I do not have to commit seppuku.
We hadn't talked about this yet, so I wasn't sure what you thought of it. I was hoping you liked it, but I wasn't
sure. It wasn't a steaming pile of poop. Woohoo!
So, we'll speak about it first in general terms for our non-spoiler audience, all two of you. So, basically, it tells the story of Diana of Themyscira, who lives on an island of warrior women, and
Amazons.
That's right. They've never seen, or she's never seen a man. And then one day, a man crashes in a plane
Dun, dun, dun.
just outside of her island, and his arrival changes her whole world forever.
Stupid men. They ruin everything.
So,
Kind of is, though, when you think about it. A role reversal of Adam and Eve, where...
I like to think that his arrival, Steve Trevor, I like to think that his arrival allowed her to fulfill her destiny.
Oh, is that what you like to think? You don't want to think that men ruin everything?
No, I prefer to think that men and women help each other to achieve their destiny. Whatever that is.
I feel like that's like something you find in a fortune cookie.
I will be writing fortune cookies if anyone's interested in hiring a fortune cookie writer.
You should do that on Fiverr.
I should. We'll write your fortune cookie. So, what did you think of the actress, Gal Gadot, who really hasn't been in a lot?
No, she's, I guess, known for modeling more than acting, right? I can't think of anything that I've seen her in.
I think
other
she
than,
was
of
in
course, the terrible Batman versus Superman. Ugh.
Well, I think she was in a Fast... I'm not sure, but I think she was in a Fast and the Furious.
Oh, I don't
movie.
watch any of those. Sorry, guys, if you like it.
But despite not having been in very many things, I thought she did a good job.
She carried the movie, so surprisingly well. I do know that there was a lot of controversy around her being cast as Wonder Woman, but she did change some of her physique a little bit.
Yeah, I did.
Because when you first saw her, you're like, oh, it was like Angelina Jolie when she was trying to be in that weird movie, and she was like weighed like 80 pounds, and I was like, there's no way she could do any of these stunts or be like all of this thing. So, you know, it always makes you nervous. But she did get a little muscular, so that was good to see, because I feel like Wonder Woman is more of a very physicality type of superhero, and definitely is not and should not be portrayed as like a size 2 Victoria's Secret model.
Well, I really underestimated her because when I first, they announced her in the casting and I was like, well, who is this person? I don't really know who this is. So I looked up a picture of her and I thought I could blow her over with a deep exhalation. But what I underestimated about her is models, and she was a model.
Yeah.
They have to adjust their body type constantly to qualify for various shoots. And I only thought of the idea, she can only get thin. I didn't think of, she can also eat and exercise and become very physically fit and athletic.
I feel like she did do that. So you don't go in there thinking like, she's, like rail thin and, needs to have a cheeseburger. How is she able to do all this action? And you wouldn't really make it that, she seemed believable in the role that she was. So I was very happy to see that, because at first I was nervous like the rest of them, like, a model, not my first choice that I would have wanted. I was impressed with her in Batman versus Superman. She was about the only good 5 minutes of that entire film. But I was still a little nervous to see, because you only, 5 minutes doesn't tell you much. And you don't know in the 5 minutes if you really can carry a film or not. But she definitely could carry the film as a lead.
Yep.
So, unfortunately, the next thing that we're going to have to see her in is the Justice League, which does not look good.
Well,
but,
I'm willing to keep an open mind for the Justice League. What makes me worried about it is that Batman doesn't seem to want to be there anymore.
Well,
the actor for Batman.
My gosh, I can't blame him what they did to him in Batman versus Superman. Sorry, Ben Affleck, we all cried.
Now, what did you think about the male lead?
You like him from Star Trek, Captain Kirk.
Yes. Although I first saw him in a movie about wine, believe it or not.
I don't believe it.
It's true. When I heard he was cast as Captain Kirk in Star Trek, I started looking up, what's this guy been in?
Oh.
And I think it was a movie called Bottle Shock about winemakers, and he was the son of a winemaker, and they made a wine.
Wow, sounds so titillating. Definitely gonna have to look that one up. No, I thought he did good. I was a little disappointed that he was more comic relief than anything. All of the humor really comes from his kind of what I call one-liners, which isn't bad, but I did feel he wasn't as three-dimensional of a character as I would have liked.
I thought he was pretty well developed. I would have liked to have known more about his family life and stuff, but they only have so much time to develop.
You do feel like there's
guy.
Definitely a backstory you're not getting. Probably could get his own movie, which he already did.
The thing about him is, you can't have a human stand up shoulder to shoulder with a superhuman and do well. So what they did was, they did have him inject humor by having him comment on things or react to things that she was doing. And she also introduced humor by reacting to things in our world that were strange to her.
Yeah.
So I like their interplay back and forth from that. He did do heroic things in the film, but I felt he did just enough heroic things so you could say, this is a very good heroic human, but they didn't have him do anything ridiculous that would take the limelight away from the superhuman, because you shouldn't be able to take the limelight away from the superhuman.
No, I mean, I just, not all humor, but, I felt like that's really mainly what he was. He did good at it. I'm not saying that he wasn't. I did feel that they did a nice job of introducing her into the world.
Yes.
In a believable way. I thought a lot of the situations that she came upon and observations that she made were good. What did you think of the action?
Okay. I will say of the action scenes...
I asked this because there were a couple that I was like... Ooh.
Yeah. There are two kinds of action films in this movie. There are action films that are pretty close up where you see the actors in good detail, and I think those action scenes are pretty good. And then there are other action scenes that are pulled back quite a bit, where they use a lot of CGI, and they are not very good action scenes. But overall, I felt like it was above average, just not as good as I was hoping for, because on those faraway scenes, I didn't like the CGI they used. This potentially might be regarded as a spoiler for some people.
Spoiler alert!
This isn't really the spoiler section, but I think I can say that there were some scenes where they replaced an actor with a piece of CGI, and the CGI was not particularly convincing.
Yeah, I was going to say some of the special effects were a little lacking, not as, I guess, realistic. They totally look like special effects.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a bummer because you are wanting to have a good blend, a better smooth transition between the CGI and the actual real set and props that they're doing. And when you have such a jarring difference between the two, it really becomes noticeable. And it takes you out of the fact that you're trying to watch a movie. And, you know, it's just like hitting you over the head. Hey, you're watching a movie. Don't forget, you're an audience member. So,
and you can really call it out. It was like real actor, CGI actor, real actor, CGI actor.
Yeah, they did not have a good, smooth transition. I also don't know why everyone loves slow-mo stuff so much. Like
I didn't mind it. Those were the best action scenes in the movie, in my opinion.
But it's because you get to see more detail of it. I'm sure that's what you like. I don't mind it so much, but I felt like it wears on me a little bit. I like to have things a little bit faster. And it's like, okay, here we're going to, now we're slowing down. Now we're slowing down. And
unfortunately, all of their fast action scenes had the CGI actor in them.
Yeah, I do think their special effects, animation, whatever that they hired, not the best. But overall, I mean, it wasn't a steaming pile of poop that I thought it was going to be. Yay!
Yeah. What about the story? Did you think it was overall very good?
It wasn't. It was okay.
Okay, I thought the story was simple.
Yeah,
they wanted it to be more complicated than it was, but I kind of saw things coming.
I was going to say, that was the one thing that I did kind of object to in the movie, is that you don't have to spoil anything because the movie does it for you. There isn't anything that happens that you don't see coming a mile away, like a long time ahead of time. There's no misdirection being done.
Well, they try, but they're not successful.
There's no misdirection. You know exactly what's happening, when it's going to happen, and who's going to do what. So that was a little disappointing in the fact that even though you kind of, if you know the character already, you already know some of the story, but at the same time, this plot, it's very simple, and you knew right from the start, like when it was introduced, what the entire movie was going to entail. I would have liked a little bit more suspense, a little bit more like drama, where I really felt peril for some people, and I never felt that in the movie.
Well, I will say my wife, Darkling Hair, is very good at seeing things before they come in movies, but even I could see everything long before it happened. Like halfway through the movie, I was like, okay, that's the bad guy, and they want you to think that's the bad guy, but that's not the bad guy. But I'm not going to go into too much detail there because I don't want to ruin it for anyone who might actually be surprised.
I don't think you're going to be. The movie doesn't really hide what it's doing well. It doesn't mean that you can't enjoy it. It's just that I think it would have been better if there was a little bit more suspense to it.
But all in all, I think it was more good than bad, and I can actually call this a good DC Universe film. Not epic, not great, but good. Worth going to see.
I mean, I will say that this does give you a little bit of faith that DC might be able to make some decent hero movies, which we haven't seen before. So before we go into any kind of spoilers, let me ask you, how many lassos would you give this? So how many lassos out of 5 would you...
Can we do shields instead? Because it'll be easier for me to put those on the screen.
Okay, shields.
All right, I'm going to find lassos. But But I think the lassos will look cheesy because the only ones I can find are toys. But oh well.
All right, do shields. We'll do it your way. It's okay. Wonder Woman would be disappointed. But that's all right.
The lasso of truth compels me to say that the shields will look better on the screen.
All right, fine. Shields. How many shields would you give this?
I would say that this movie gets 3.5 out of 5 shields. Partly because it really surprised me by not being terrible. I mean, I wanted it to be good, but I still, in the back of my mind, I thought it was going to be terrible.
I think most people that have seen a DC comic film in the past couple of years went into this thinking it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
I think that's a mindset most had.
So, like, 3 out of 5 would have already been above average.
Yes.
3.5 because it's not only above average, but it's above all the other films in the series. What about you?
I am going to give it 3 3/4 shields just to make it difficult on you. So take that.
So now we gotta...
Hey, do your magic with the shield, shield man. I can't give it 4 because some of the writing isn't the best. Some of the plot didn't work. Some of the CGI was a little bit... It's not an epic movie in any way. You don't go into this thinking like, oh, my mind's blown, how awesome it was. But you do go in there, you have a good time, it's entertaining, you do enjoy yourself, and you don't leave it thinking, oh, I could have waited, or I'm kind of bummed I saw it. Like, you don't leave that. You really feel like you did at least get your money's worth.
Yes.
So 3 3/4.
All right, and now we will enter the spoiler portion.
Spoiler alert, spoiler alert.
I love it when you do that. All right.
It's my love of
So, wow, the CGI in some of those far shots was terrible.
CGI is so bad.
You know those Spider-Man movies where they use the CGI Spider-Man and there's a couple moves he does where he doesn't look like a person? That was like all of their CGI shots.
Here's what I don't understand. As far as we have seen special effects have come over the years, especially when you see like when we saw things when we were young, we're like, wow, that's really cool, right? And then you see how far along movies have come today, like Avatar and different things like that, where the CGI can just be really amazing and that. And then you think some of these movies have such huge budgets because it's so pricey to do CGI, right? And then you think, where did you put all your money in? Because the CGI is terrible.
Well, what I don't understand...
There's nothing in here that makes it feel realistic. It's like, oh, there's a computer person. Oh, there's a computer. Like, am I in a video game?
So
or am I in a movie? Like,
my thing is, why? Why I use CGI? This is Wonder Woman. This is a super strong person fighting. You don't need CGI. You can do this with mostly conventional effects and just use CGI to cover any flaws in it.
I guess, again, because of the character itself, she is godlike. And then she's, spoiler, fighting a god. They don't want to have it just like they want it to feel like it's epic and bigger than, what just a regular man going against man would be. But they don't succeed in it at all. There's nothing in the special effects that I felt were worth what they paid for. I felt like they could have made this cheaper on a better budget and made it look better without all of the computertronics on here. It's so bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad except when they are replacing a person in the middle of this big fight scene with a CGI person. It happened on a couple of occasions, and it just took me right out of the fight.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, it does take you out of the whole entire, I think, experience of going to the movies is you kind of want to be, for those couple of hours, right? You're supposed to, like, go away from where you're at, right? But there is nothing about those things. They like took you right out of that experience and put you right into like, I'm at the movies. I'm watching something on the big screen. None of this is real.
Now, the worst acting in this film, ironically, came not from the leads. We were worried about Gal Gadot, or is it Gal Gadot?
I don't know. I think Gadot maybe? Is she French?
No, she's Israeli.
Oh. Okay.
In fact, I think she was in the Israeli military.
I don't know how to pronounce her name. Sorry, guys.
It's either Godot or Godot, with my apologies.
I don't think it's Godot. I think that's a weird... I think it's Godot. Like, I don't remember anyone calling her Godot.
Okay.
It's Godot.
So, the bad guys. Particularly the main bad guy.
So terrible.
When I say the main bad guy, I don't mean the God of War, who was okay.
He was not the best either.
I mean, I know that actor can do better, but he's not that kind of role.
I feel like it wasn't necessarily his fault because I got the feeling that the director really wanted him to be like over the top cheesy. Like I felt like he was trying to go for that like you are a god, like just egotistical, and I felt like it didn't quite hit the button that I wanted.
When you do that kind of role anyway, it's liable to be a little over the top. But the one that I didn't like was the German dude who we were misdirected, quote unquote, into thinking was the God of War. Guess what? It didn't work, the misdirection. His acting wasn't very good.
It was very stilted, and I wonder if the director wanted to have more of like that kind of cold personality come through where he was not as emotional, but it didn't work. So whether it was the director wanting the character to kind of be portrayed in this weird way, because sometimes you don't know. Like, sometimes you don't know if it's the actor just isn't, like, a good fit for this role or if it's how the director envisions this to be. And I say that because of how that one Hulk movie was, where I thought that actor was terrible, Eric Bana, and it turns out he's a really good actor. It just, the director wanted him to be crappy.
Right.
So now I go into it not knowing, is it the actor's fault or the director's fault?
Well, the leads were obviously well directed. I don't think Gal Gadot could have done as well as she did if she wasn't being well directed. Yeah,
no, I just don't know. That particular character was just not good. Like, there wasn't anything about him that was intimidating.
You want to know what part really threw me was
the fake
when they throw the gas into the room and then they throw the gas mask and then the girl's like, oh, but the gas mask won't help them, and he's like, I know, and they go and they kind of giggle a little. I'm like, what the fuck, come on, be a little more intimidating or I don't know, project some more evil than that. Giggling like teenagers after setting up a room full of people to die doesn't do it for me. It felt more like a scene from Dr. Evil and his son.
But I think part of the problem is that the human bad guys are caricatures. They're very what you would consider trope characters in every sense of the word.
You're right.
And so that was kind of part of my problem is like, oh, well, there's nothing new to this. They didn't bring any dimension to the characters at all in any way. So I felt like they just went on that kind of cliche route instead of trying to make an actual
I think you're right. They were written as caricatures of bad guys and not as three-dimensional people with their own motivations. They have this scarred up woman, but we never get to find out why she's scarred or what's special about her. She's not developed at all beyond wearing a mask to cover her scar.
Like Phantom of the Opera type mask.
Yeah, and she's a scientist. There was a brief conversation in the film where I thought, oh, we might get to learn a little bit about her, but we don't really. We have another character talk about her for a little while. She says one line and then it's over.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess they tried to, again, with that conversation to show like, oh, she's a little crazy. She's really got weird ideas and stuff. She really likes to see people suffer, probably because she had suffered. There's some sort of trauma.
But how bad
is it? You don't really end up caring because, again, it's such a cliched written that you're like, I'm sure there's a backstory here, but I don't really care to know it.
Well, I did care to know it, but unfortunately, her entire backstory was revealed as much as possible by another character guessing about what her backstory might be. When I look in your eyes, I see X, Y, and Z. Great. That's all we get to know about that character.
No, I know. I didn't like, the Germans. I know, the bad guys are always Germans. Well, it is World War I guys, though. You have to give them, you have to give them a pass there. But yeah, no, that was my problem. The bad guys were not done well. But at least the main characters were. I also didn't like some of the, I want to call them sidekicks.
Well,
I didn't feel like any of that was done particularly well either. Like, they try and bring up this kind of hodgepodge, different type of characters. Almost, again, feels like a D&D campaign where you've got a bard, you've got a fighter, you've got, all these different people coming together with different strengths to do all this stuff. But, I mean, they didn't really do much.
They weren't developed. Now, I'll tell you one thing, Marvel. Here's where Marvel did better. And Marvel usually does better, so that's not saying a lot, but remember that TV show, Agent Carter? Whatever. Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Carter?
Oh, I never watched it.
Well, anyway, that character on some flashback scenes to World War II did adventuring with a ragtag group of specialists.
Yeah.
And they were all much better developed, in my opinion, than the ragtag group of specialists in this film. I think they were going for that Agent Carter feel.
It felt like they wanted to try and have like a group setting.
Yeah, but none of those, I didn't care about any of them.
They didn't give you a reason to. They didn't develop them in any way.
They didn't even seem all that good at their jobs, to be honest.
You have a sniper who can't use a gun. Like, it's pretty weird.
Like, nice commentary on PTSD, but let's bring someone who can actually shoot to the war and not bring the PTSD guy who can't shoot.
Like, all he did was tell me where people are. Well, anyone could do that. Like, we all have eyes. We all have sight. Like, I don't understand why are you here if you really aren't. And then we never understood, because then he's the guy that they're all like, cover me. What is he going to cover you from? He can't shoot. What's he going to do? Like, just scream at people? Like, it was weird.
Well, I think he did shoot before the end of the movie, but he was...
I don't know.
The group that Chris Pine was with were of dubious value. I think him and Diana could have done everything they did just... I do
think that this is why it also makes me nervous of Justice League. And the reason why I say that is that DC so far has not made a very good group movie at all. It doesn't do well in trying to have a group superhero story movie that works. And you can kind of see the problems when they try and bring different people together to have a group that's supposed to have a group setting. Sure, I get that they're gonna be sidekicks. They're not gonna do nearly as cool of stuff that she's gonna do because, hello, she's a god. But at the same time, then don't introduce them and don't have them because it's weird.
I felt the secretary in England had more personality than the people.
And so this is why you see, the Avengers are good, because they do have a good group dynamic. Marvel does that really well. Where you find each kind of group person interesting, but then you kind of need the whole group to work. And I didn't feel like this worked well in a group setting. It works really well for her, and then even kind of having Chris Pine there helping out. But the other people, I don't know, they ended up hiding and crouched together and hugged each other at the end. And I was like, that was their contribution to the big fight. I was like, oh, why are you here? But you're right. That was the one of the I did like the secretary. I thought she was a little plucky. That was kind of nice to see some sass. So that was good. But yeah, the bad guys and the group, you could have not had them. Really.
Yeah, if that group hadn't been along for the ride, the adventure wouldn't have been any worse for it.
Yeah.
So,
but I enjoyed it. Yay!
Yeah, that's the main takeaway from this.
It was a good time. I was so relieved that they didn't poop all over my Wonder Woman.
What I don't know what they're going to do is if Justice League is bad, but Wonder Woman's good, what are they going to do with that? They can't reboot the series without replacing Wonder Woman. But if Wonder Woman's the thing that's working for them, and Justice League sucks, what are they going to...
I wouldn't mind having more Wonder Woman and less Justice League. I will be honest, I know this is a thing about Wonder Woman. I'm scared for Justice League, guys. There's hardly many of the members of the Justice League I'm interested in. I don't like the cyborg guy. Okay, Aquaman looks at least hotter in this rendition, but it's still Aquaman. It's not that... Sorry, Aqua lovers, but
I hope they can
not that interesting of a character.
I hope they can make Aquaman cool without just making him a jerk.
Yeah, some renditions of him, he's a dick. But, so we'll see how they do. But I will definitely take more Wonder Woman. I will take more movies. I will just of her. I'm on board.
All right. Well, on that note, this will be Cubanwriter signing off. And Darkling Faye?
Goodbye, darling.
Catch you next time.